BBC Radio Newcastle. It's the sound of the North East. Now, today I am very pleased. We've got guests in the studio. Love that, because Restaurant Week is back. And it's this time of year where, you know, you've got the Christmas tree down. It's been payday for the middle of the month. And it's just stuff to do, isn't it? Who doesn't love a bit of stuff to do? Well, it's always very popular on the calendar. It starts today and it runs until the 22nd. And more restaurants than any other year are taking part. So how does it work? And what can you indulge in this year? Well, Rachel Barlow is from NE1.
It runs until Sunday, the 22nd, so you've got a full week to enjoy loads of different restaurants in Newcastle. All of them have price menus at £10, £15 or £20 per person. So whether you're dining out once during the week, maybe you're going out for work, lunch, or even Sunday lunch with the family, there's plenty of places for you to enjoy throughout the week.
This is growing year on year, isn't it?
That's right, Jill, yeah. So we started Restaurant Week back in 2011, and it was a call from restaurants at the time locally that were saying, look, we really struggle in 2 times a year, January after the Christmas rush, and also in August when, you know, a lot of people are on holiday. So the idea behind the event was to take some of the quietest weeks and turn them into some of the busiest. So started with 10 restaurants originally, and now we've grown to 120.
And with regard to the Restaurant Week, what does that actually do for the economy? Can you measure that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we always ask restaurants who are taking part in the event to let us know how many people dined with them. So it gives us a measurable impact. So last year's event, the January and August one, created a £1.5 million economic boost for the sector, which shows the value of the event and also how important it is for those businesses who are getting involved. And it's not just the economic impact. A lot of restaurants will use that week to trial and test new menus, to entice in new customers that we know now go back to the restaurants that they trial when they were in Restaurant Week. So it's huge for the restaurants, and it also has a ripple effect as well, Jill. So what we'll tend to find is the suppliers, so the people that, you know, pump the food into the restaurants, the transport sector, whether it's metro, taxi, bus, all of those will have an impact as a result of the event that we put on.
So how does it work then for people perhaps who they've heard of it but they haven't actually been involved before? Do you have to sign up? Do you have to get tickets? Do you just turn up?
So the best way is to head over to our website, which is www.getintonewcastle.co.uk, and on there you'll see the full list of restaurants which are taking part this year. And on there you can have a look at the menus, you can choose which one you want to do, and there is a download voucher on there to download the voucher to your phone. Some restaurants will ask for it, some won't, because you book with the restaurants direct. So whoever you're going out and supporting, just make sure you do it, tell your friends and get everyone booked.
And by, this time next week, Rachel, you'll be in those elasticated waisted bottoms because, you're going to be full as a gun all week. How lovely.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has that fear over Christmas of putting on weight. I have the Restaurant Week fear every January. As do the rest of the team, I think. So we're super proud of NE1's Restaurant Week, and it's something that the whole city gets behind. It's a real community thing, and whether it's Dean Street, Grey Street, wherever, the restaurants are bustling, and there's such a lovely vibe.
There certainly is. Well, I'm very pleased to say we can talk and we can taste about Restaurant Week just a little bit more. I'm joined in the studio by Andy Hook from Blackfriars and Josh Roberts from Thali, who have taken part in Restaurant Week. First of all, thank you very much for coming in. It's lovely to have guests in the studio, fellas. And the smell in here is phenomenal because you have brought with you, you've brought some fine ware for us to try. Now, I know for a fact that we will have producer Michael appear at any moment, and we'll have Miles doing the news appearing at any moment because you've taken part in Restaurant Week and you've brought in some beautiful things for us to try. Andy, first of all, now you're a pro at Restaurant Week. You were there from the very beginning.
Are you just saying I look a bit old?
No, I say I'm mature and a pro at Restaurant Week, because it has been going a long time.
Yeah, we've been doing it since the inception back in 2011, so this is our 12th dozen that we've done twice a year, so 24 of them, and it goes from strength to strength. There was, I think, barely a dozen of us who started off 12 years ago, and now there's over 100 taking part.
And as you say, 24 because there's a summer Restaurant Week too.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. August, middle of August, there's another one to look forward to.
From a restaurant's perspective, is the appeal getting bums on seats at what's notoriously a quieter time of year?
I think for us, it's a little bit about giving back. We had a well-documented torrid time during the pandemic, and restaurants tend to be challenged quite a lot. And over the 20 years I've been running restaurants, I've found a lot of challenges. But the support that we've got from our customers, loyal local businesses, local people, has been fantastic. And it's just as much a way of thanking them and say, look, just come in and enjoy some cut price food, some top-notch food, and you've got all this choice. So it's a bit of a thank you to our customers.
I think as well, for the time when we were in the pandemic, and we were talking on air about the challenges that hospitality generally had. And whereas in the past, perhaps, you might have rivalries with restaurants, that seemed to go out the window during the pandemic. That certainly seems to be the case, Josh. And I wonder if that's something perhaps that you noticed. If you ran out of something, you would call your neighbour, and it was very much all hands on deck.
Yeah, it's when you see new places cropping up, it is actually more of a relief now than anything. So the hospitality scene is a general. It's more like a multi-venue night out in Newcastle now. No one really spends their entirety at one place. So the more that's added to the city, the more places that are become available, the greater the whole scene becomes and the customer experience for everyone. So yeah.
Now, this is the first time that you've taken part in Restaurant Week.
Yes.
Yes. So quite excited about this because not only the first time for Restaurant Week, a brand new venue as well.
Yes. So we've just opened up our new site at Beelham House on Gallagher. It's a lovely building built in the 1800s, red brick. It was a function room that we've managed to change into a restaurant, and we are absolutely over the moon to be able to share it with some of our customers. And we're so pleased to have a lot of familiar faces coming back to visit us from our previous site.
Great, that's what it's about, isn't it? So it's all friends, really, in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, and a hell of a lot of new faces, especially with Restaurant Week around the corner. We are buckling down the hatches.
Oh, I can see your faces. You're super excited about this. This is going to be good stuff. So tell me about Thali Tray, the type of food that you prepare, because it smells delicious in here. So talk me through.
So we're an Indian street food thali house. We serve food on compartmented trays, which is a traditional thali. We generally have each tray themed around a different region of India, and the regions of India are so diverse. It's almost like Europe in a sense that the English food is totally different to the Italians, to the Greek, and that can change state by state in India. So each thali is themed around one of them regions, and you've got some dishes indicative of that place with the spices to go along with it. We change our menu annually. This is probably the last Restaurant Week that this menu will have. So
gosh, so you've brought in some dishes. So talk me through what's here.
So I've brought in 2 vegetarian dishes for you here. The brown one is dal makhni. Ooh. So makhni translates to butter, so buttered dal. It's got 3 different types of dal in, and it's slow cooked and finished with garam masala, fresh fenugreek, and cream and butter.
Wow. Now, when you've got people coming in who like the sound of the food, but they're not really sure where to start, your team are on hand to say, well, if you like the spices, you like this. If you want something hot, you like this.
Exactly.
Because sometimes I think people end up going for the same thing, don't they? Because they're unsure.
Yeah. So the likelihood is when you do come into thali, unless you have been before, you may not recognise any of the dishes that we do. So that is where it comes into it with the custom trays. So you can customise what is on your thali. So it'll be generally 2 different curries, rice, a type of bread, some sides we serve soya wadi at the minute, which is soy protein balls, and then pickles, onions, chilies. Also, you can combine them in different combinations and have great experience.
You can tell why Rachel says she has to wear her elasticated trousers, can't you, by the end of Restaurant Week? You can tell, definitely. Well, I'm going to have a little try. What we'll do, we'll play a track, and then I want to find out about Blackfriars, because, again, completely contrast the different types of food. So there is so much on offer. There's over 100 restaurants, isn't there, involved this year. So let me just have a little try. We've got Laura, my teammate. Laura is here too. Now, Laura, would you like to have a little try too? Let's go for it. Absolutely. So this is, describe it again for me, please.
So we've got slow cooked dal finished with butter, cream, fenugreek, and garam masala.
Oh, people slapping there. Swallowing on the radio sounds dreadful.
Classic Punjabi.
That is delicious. So what part of India would this dish be from?
I learned the recipe for that in a restaurant in Amritsar called Kesa Dadaba. It is I think it's on its 5th generation of proprietor now. So they have someone coming in, cooking the dal at 2 a.m. Ours isn't quite on that long, but it's coming close.
Gosh, and so they teach you the techniques and slap you. You're not doing it right. You're doing it right. There's a process, isn't it? An apprenticeship even.
Yeah. It's all about care, time, and technique.
That is very, very tasty. Thank you very much. Let's just try the second dish. Can you tell me what's in here?
So that's chole masala, chickpeas, tomato, and a sort of tangy ginger sauce. There are so many spices in this dish that the onset you will get sweet and heat, but then about 20 seconds later the palate starts developing and you get the spices coming through at different levels at different times.
Okay. That is tasty.
Yeah.
That is tasty. Wowee. Now, would somebody have this on the tray as part of the rest of a meal?
Yes. So the dal is off our Punjabi thali, which is our vegetarian one at the moment, and the chole masala is off our Amritsari thali.
That is so tasty. It's incredible. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Let's play Cat Burns and then we'll talk some more. It's Restaurant Week. So here at BBC Radio Newcastle, an absolute treat today. We'll find out more from Andy about the work that they do, the history of the place, because it is phenomenal, and of course the food that they serve too. BBC Radio Newcastle. We're talking about Restaurant Week this week, and Andy Hook from Blackfriars and Josh Roberts from Thali are taking part in Restaurant Week. And while Cat Burns was playing, we were digging in, and it's just delish. First of all, very, very tasty. And Laura, my colleague, Laura, is here. And she asked Josh, and she says, when you're cooking chickpeas, and if you cook them at home, do you get them out of a tin? I do as well. But if you do it from scratch, that's where the flavour is, isn't it? That's what the cooking it from scratch and taking your time.
Control and creaminess.
That's the difference between me doing it in the house and you lot creating fine foods in the restaurant. Yeah. Really.
So there is absolutely nothing wrong with tinned chickpeas, don't get me wrong.
No.
They serve a purpose and can be actually truly delicious. But if you do want to try dried chickpeas for once, soaking them overnight in unsalted water is actually a game changer.
But then you have to put them on the stove for an awful long time.
Correct. The soaking does bring down the cooking time, but if there's any sort of pressure cooker that you have in your house, it can bring the cooking time down by a factor of 5, so it can reduce it from 5 hours to 45 minutes.
And we were talking off air there to Andy and Josh with regard to energy costs at the moment. When you're running kitchens extensively, that's something you've really got to take into account.
Yeah, with the huge gas burners, you can see pennies ticking away. In fact, 10 pence is ticking away very quickly there.
I'm sure. So we'll need to get out. You need to get out your nana's pressure cooker. That's what you need to do. See if you can find your nana's pressure cooker. So Andy, I mean, this is delicious. You're going to try a little bit of Indian cuisine too?
I'm going to try some after this. Absolutely. If anyone could smell how delicious this smells in here.
So talk me through Blackfriars, because it's one of the oldest establishments in Newcastle, and it's got so much history.
Yes, Blackfriars was established in 1239 as a 13th century Dominican friary. So I guess it's one of the 5 oldest buildings now that we have in Newcastle, and it's kind of the jewel in the crown of the medieval heritage of Blackfriars, along with the castle keep and a few of the other churches. But it's truly historic, 800 years old, and we are absolutely privileged to be allowed to trade from there.
I mean, it is such a beautiful setting, but you've got this marvellous medieval set, really. You know, you arrive and it's certainly an experience, but then you've got the high-tech kitchens. I mean, trying to marry the two together, that must have been quite complex.
Yeah, essentially it's a commercial enterprise that we run there. It's not a charity, it's not a national trust, it's not an English heritage, it's a commercial business that we have to run there. But you know what? We are given so much encouragement from English Heritage, the archaeologists, the city council and so on, because it's the type of building that will probably be empty otherwise. And it was pretty much empty when we first moved in 20 years ago. And we've slowly just taken over different parts of it. So now we've got a cookery school, we have a 50-seat banquet hall where we do lots of wine dinners and whiskey dinners and weddings and all sorts of things, tasting room, we have a bar and various function rooms, and it's all about trying to bring the place to life. So we're kind of passionate about the food, but we're also passionate about the heritage of the place, and we work closely with the universities trying to understand that heritage. So it's really interesting.
And where it is placed within the city as well, you know, the history of the North East East, well, certainly the history of Newcastle City, phenomenal. And there's so much to learn and uncover all the time, I should imagine.
Yeah, and we're really interested by what they were eating at the time, 800 years ago.
What would they be eating then for their dinner? If they were going round for tea, what would they be eating 800 years ago? What would be a standard tea?
Well, you know what? In some ways, it's better to think about what they weren't eating. So all the foods that we associate from Latin America, things like chilies and tomatoes and potatoes in particular weren't available. But most other things were, and they would eat pretty much everything, whether it be wild or domestic or grown and so on. But there was pottage tended to be the kind of staple food where you put in anything in a pot, basically. So you put it in a pot over a fire, put a little bit of meat. Meat is always going to be quite an expensive thing for a peasant. Some herbs, some vegetables, and things like leeks and cabbage. And remember Baldrick, and famous for his cabbage and all that. And because that was quite true. Lots of cabbage, lots of onions, lots of garlic, leeks, and things like that were around at the time. But if you had a bit more money and you were from the noble or the aristocracy, then you would have roast meats and things that were slightly more kind of luxurious in a certain way. And then really from the 13th century prior to that, they would bring spices over. So from the Far East and the Western Africa and so on. So that kind of, what Josh was talking about, the spices, there were spices brought in, and they very, very expensive. So it was kind of a sign of wealth. But we try and think about what they were eating and try and bring that into the restaurant. So there's a little bit of kind of modern medievalism, if that's not an odd phrase to
It is now. That's
use.
the phrase we'll use, definitely. So what's on the cards for this week then, for Restaurant Week? What have you got on offer?
So Restaurant Week means that you produce menus or dishes for £10, £15 or £20, and we all do that. So all the customers kind of know what they're getting, and we're offering 3 courses for £20 at lunchtime, or 2 courses for £20 in the evening, and we're doing this across both our restaurants. So we've got Blackfriars, and we've also got Dobson Parnell down on the quayside, and ours is quite a short menu in some ways, because we are going to be serving so many people, which we can see from our bookings already, that you've got to keep it quite manageable. And it's made for the modern day palate, so it's traditional British food with kind of historic kind of bent to it. So I've got a few things. In fact, you've got a few things there, haven't you?
Things in. I'm just going to move these delicious.
So I've brought in some goat's cheese, candied walnuts, roast beetroots, very kind of medieval type of food with a honey dressing with them and herbs, and part of our sharing board. So I've got some smoked mackerel pate there with sourdough bread and compressed cucumber. Now I know that you're a pescatarian.
Yes, I eat fish.
Right?
Yes, I do eat fish.
So you're
we'll
good with that. But
Absolutely.
if you wanted the meats, then we've got for the main courses, we've got roast cod, homemade chorizo. No good for you, I know. We could take the chorizo out. Slow cooked leeks and mustard sauce, and we've also got a chicken and tarragon Wellington with braised lentils and smoked bacon cream. So.
Oh, you know what as well, because this weather is so grim. This week's it's going to be cold, isn't it? So we wrap up. You go in there. This is hearty food as well, isn't it?
Yes. I would say that we're both doing hearty food, but in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Most definitely. We will need those elasticated pants on, won't we? So let's have a little look. Now, Laura, would you like to dig in too?
You go.
Are you all right? So I'm going to go for the middle tray, which is the beetroot.
Yes, it's goat's cheese with roasted beetroot and candied walnuts with a lemon honey dressing.
Well, it looks, first of all, you eat with your eyes, don't you? That's what all the chefs tell me. You eat with your eyes first.
You do, and with your nose, and these flavours are wafting around here. Actually, whilst you're just eating that, let me tell you about a couple of the other places. So I love Josh's Tidy Tray, great place. Always used to go down to there, down at the Eusburn, so people will remember it from the Eusburn. It's now relocated round the corner from Blackfriars. How lucky are we? Other great places, the Gunner Tavern, Scream for Pizza, Cowtor, Kai Kai, the Broad Chair and Chart House, to name but a few of the 100 that are taking part. So some really great restaurants and all offering cracking deals.
That is delicious. Sorry, you're going to have to keep talking. I'm still chewing the walnuts. They're delish.
You like,
Oh, that is so tasty.
Yeah.
And you say about the different flavours because they just all pop through bit by bit, don't they? Beetroot's so underrated. I love beetroot.
And beetroot, very good for you as well. Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And then the bottom tray is the fish.
So that's mackerel pate. So smoked mackerel pate with cream cheese, a slice of sourdough bread and some compressed cucumber.
What's compressed cucumber then? What does that mean?
No idea, but it sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds really good. Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah. No, what we do is we peel it and then we put it into a vacuum bag with some other really good flavourings to it, and it does literally compress it, and it tastes delicious.
Wow, I'm just going to take that cucumber off there, pop it on the top of this bread, because the bread as well is very nice. I mean, it's
yeah.
You can see, can't you?
Yeah.
Your bakers are in early.
Yeah, they are, and we make. So we do, our foods are all the restaurants here are very different, but we make everything on site. So we make our own bread and pastries and ice creams and stocks and sauces and sausages. No, you don't want sausages. Black pudding. No, but all of those things.
We've
got some great desserts here.
I can see the dessert there as well. Oh my word!
That is a totally vegan dessert. No dairy whatsoever in it. So
it looks the chocolatiest chocolate I've ever seen.
And it is, and it tastes amazing.
Wow. Let me just talk about this first of all. The compressed cucumber.
Yeah, what do you reckon?
It's quite pickly. It's delicious. Yeah. It really goes well with the fish.
Yes. Yeah, so we put it in.
It really goes really very well.
It works, and it's a kind of perennial favourite. There's certain things that we've had on the menu, I would say, for 10 years, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Along with fish cakes or pan haggerty. There's a lot of things that are just always popular.
Oh, wow.
But it's a lovely thing, isn't it?
Oh, it is, isn't it? I'm going to pop that there because it would be rude not to try the dessert. A little tiny little bit.
I'm wondering whether you should wash some of that down with some wine. Maybe that will help.
I can't drink wine. There's rules on the radio. You can't drink wine.
Yeah, but I won't tell anyone if you don't.
You never know who's listening. We're not going to open the wine. You can open the wine, but I'm not opening the wine. Oh, now this. Describe for me, please. The dessert. It's a vegan dessert.
Yes.
It looks like it's like a chocolate tart. Maybe?
Yeah, no, it's a very dense chocolate mousse.
Oh wow!
So we whip it to death, basically, and we put some glucose with it, and really nothing else. But it's all about an incredibly high quality chocolate that we use.
Wow, that is the bee's knees. That is so chocolatey.
It's really chocolatey, isn't it? And the chocolate originally came from the Mexicans, and they had it as a kind of unsweetened, potent kind of thing with chilies and so on. And then it was brought over to Europe, and it was brought over by the Spanish, but by the Dominicans. So a little story, little connection there we've got, and we use top quality chocolate. But do you like it?
I do like it. That is lovely, very lovely. I feel absolutely full as a gun now, Josh and Andy. And what I've really enjoyed is you've given me a little bit more about. It's not just the food; it's the backstory. It's how it's created in India, the seasonings, the processes of it, and finding out about the history as well. And when people come along, they can find out that with you guys. You're very able to chat to your customers and give them the backstory to what they're eating, and that's what it's about, isn't it? Yeah. It's the experience of it all.
Yes.
So how do we find out more then? Just to recap again, if you would like to come along this week, Josh, what do we do?
Well, we're running the 2 courses for £15 all week, which is going to consist of one of our Thali tasters, which is a small dish to serve alongside the traditional Thali, and a main course Thali. All reservations have to be made online via our website, thalitray.co.uk. And booking is strongly advised.
Excellent.
After I've seen the reservation sheet this week.
Oh, brilliant. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that you've been able to come in. And it is always a real kickstart to the year. Isn't it, I think?
It's a little tonic that we all need during this cold weather.
Absolutely. And then apart from Restaurant Week, how do we follow you guys on social media? How do we find you?
That's a good question, isn't it? Yeah. So no, we're on the usual Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Blackfriars Restaurant.
Yeah.
That's how you find us. Or the other one, Dobson Bar now. Or the one out on the coast, Hinnie's. That we've also got. But yes, we've got lots and lots of social media, particularly on Instagram and Facebook, where you can see some of these dishes being made.
And the taster sessions and all of the other things that's going on too.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cookery classes and. tastings, all sorts of things.
Great stuff.
We'd love to see you there.
Lovely. Thank you very much to Andy and to Josh. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
coming in.
having us.
It's going to be a
Yes,
great
thank
success
you.
this week. This room smells delicious. And you know what will happen? Here he comes. He's producer Michael. He's going to come in and just have a little taste test himself. And why not? It is beautiful stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.